Hey everyone, Frank with Ice Age Performance. Today we're installing our running board kit on this 858 Catalyst snowmobile and going through the steps from start to finish, from removing the plastic boards, tools needed, and installing our complete running board kit on this machine. As you may know, the factory plastic running boards, they are not the best. They're a bit weak because they're plastic, they don't have the best grip, and they build up quite a bit of snow and ice. So we came up with a solution for this, and that is our complete running board kit, which optimizes the holes and cutouts of the running board to shed that snow and ice, which makes for more grip, and obviously they're gonna be a lot stronger. That's what we do here at Ice Age. We make solutions and create stronger parts. So we're gonna go through the start to finish install on this. It's pretty straightforward, doesn't take much time, and you only need a few tools, so stay tuned, we're gonna dive into it here. So everything's laid out here for the tools needed to install the boards. We have our rivet gun here, couple Torx, T25 and 30, couple Allens, 3 and 5, 8mm wrench, 1/4-inch ratchet with a small extension, and a crowbar or just a large flathead screwdriver will also do the trick. For power tools, we have an impact driver for removing the old factory hardware. For reinstalling the boards with the provided hardware, we do prefer the hand tools just because some of the fasteners are a bit small, so we just want to be somewhat careful with that. And then we have a drill to pair with the provided drill bit in the kit as well. And then we also have Loctite, of course. So that's everything you'll need for installing and removing the factory boards on the Catalyst 858 here. Although we are installing the kit today with a factory rear bumper, they are compatible with an assortment of aftermarket bumpers with a different rear piece to make that compatible. And we just, understand that not everyone's gonna be running a factory bumper or a bumper that has a similar attachment point. So just wanna make that known. These are compatible with different aftermarket bumper brands. First step, we're gonna start by removing the 10 screws that are actually on the underside of the factory board here. And these are going to be a T30 Torx. So we'll take those out and then we'll move on to the other fasteners, which would be a different size. Now we're gonna do the 2 screws that are up here. These are a couple self-tappers that are a T25, so using the 1/4-inch ratchet, remove those, and we'll actually reuse these. So set them aside, and we'll be putting them on the new boards. Using the same T25 and 8mm wrench, we're gonna remove the 2 bolts and nuts that hold this kicker plate on from the snowmobile. And if you reach around on the inside of the tunnel, the T25 bolt will be on the inside there, and then the 8mm on the outside. And lastly, this T25 will be the final fastener that holds the board on, and we'll take this off, and this will also get reused. So we are ready to take the factory pieces off here. This rear kick-up is not really held in by much, so just take that off, set it aside. However, there is a bit of a technique with taking the factory plastic piece out. What you have to do is grab it with 2 hands right about here and pull it away from the tunnel and actually slightly up at the same time. And what that's gonna do is kind of remove it from against the tunnel, and then we'll take 2 hands and peel it up from the back, and you can see how it locates on this outer bar, just peels itself up, and we'll take it off the rest of the way. So using a little force, just pops out, so no big deal there. What we're left with is that outer bar, which we will also use to locate on with our boards, and then the tabs with the fastener holes as well. Next step, we'll assemble the Ice Age catalyst board on the workbench. Here we have one side of the catalyst running board, and what we're going to demonstrate is how to assemble it on the workbench. This is recommended, putting it all together. We have our extruded board piece here, and then 2 additional pieces as well that'll kind of construct the complete board as one piece, and then you'll take it and put it on the machine and fasten it with the remaining screws. Taking the rear kick-up piece here, we're going to put this into position and align it into the extrusion. Then take one of these small screws from the kit, little dab of Loctite, T25, and we'll get this one started here. Next, we'll take the other billet piece and put this into position as well. Use one of the 2 large bolts, another little dab of Loctite on that. Drop it into the hole here. And we'll get that aligned into position using the Allen. Get that started. Now we'll flip the board upside down here and take another one of these small screws, little dab of Loctite, T25 again, and put it up through the bottom. Get that snugged up. And now the board is completely assembled, and this is ready to go on the machine again. We'll finish putting the rest of the screws in once it's on the sled, and we're pretty much good to go from there. With how the running board attaches to the snowmobile, we will need to drill out a rivet here on the side of the tunnel, and when we remove that, it allows us to put a fastener through that hole, and then these 2 holes, which are open, are from what we removed earlier from the stock running board, and we have a piece of our kit here, and it aligns just like that on the tunnel, and removing that rivet and reusing these 2 factory holes allows us to attach this to the tunnel securely. Now taking the fully assembled board and putting it into position, pretty much the reverse order of the stock piece coming out. And we're going to start kind of with the front here, aligning it up between the plastic pieces. And sometimes it can be a little tricky, but if you align it underneath those 2 there, it'll kind of fall into place like so. And now all we need to do is kind of push it up against the bumper here, so that way it clicks on, and push it on the rest of the way, and it'll snap into place. And it's a pretty tight fit, so you'll have to make sure everything's fit nicely, but this is fully aligned. Now all we have to do is get the screws, put them in, drill a couple holes for the rivets, and we'll be all set to roll. Of these smaller screws in the hardware kit, 2 of them will actually be a little bit longer, and the fastener head will actually be an Allen as well. So this one specifically goes up toward the front here at this section, and basically the reason for the longer one is because it is attaching a few more pieces of metal. So just noting this longer one and that it goes right up here toward the front. Take 2 of the factory screws that we set aside earlier, put these back into position here and here. Then using the T25, we can get these tightened up. Now taking 3 of these smaller screws, we're going to finish attaching this piece of the running board from the inside of the tunnel. You may also need to spin the track to gain access to these holes, but as you may remember earlier, we drilled out 1 rivet right here. We're going to be putting this screw through that hole and then reusing 2 of the factory holes that we removed hardware from earlier. So just getting these started by hand with a little dab of Loctite on each. And the final screw that we'll be putting in is another that we removed earlier. It's a factory screw, and putting it back on the bumper here, and we can get this one snugged up. So everything is fastened again. All we need to do now is do the rivets. That's the last step. And the reason why we leave this until last is because we want to make sure that all the screws are in position. That way we don't drill the rivet holes prematurely and then not have things align again. So this just guarantees that everything is positioned correctly. Now take the provided drill bit and drill out the 4 rivet holes on the boards. In the extrusion, there's already holes located. We just need to drill into the factory outer tube. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 positions there. We'll drill those out and then install the rivets. Using the provided rivets, put them into the 4 holes that we just drilled. Same thing on the other side. So that completes the install process for the Catalyst running boards. Pretty straightforward install. It replaces the weak factory plastic boards that are building up snow and ice and are oftentimes slippery in the right conditions. These will remedy all of those issues. Provide great snow evacuation with the optimized cutouts in large openings, which in turn provides more traction. So let us know if you have any questions. These are a great upgrade for the Catalyst snowmobile and an absolute necessity. So reach out if you have any questions during install. We're happy to help. Thanks again for watching.